spend less time, less CPU cycles running through all the different JavaScripts that get downloaded. So it all gives a positive impact to the battery as well, which I haven't really tested to see what kind of. I'd like to do a controlled test to see what the battery impact is, but I can't seem to find a good way of doing it.
Yeah, that would be interesting because you're really engaging the radio, and the radio, the cell radio, is one of the most expensive pieces of the device in terms of battery use and things like that. For sure. I mean, if you put yourself in airplane mode, you can get you can get 2 days worth of use out of your device, probably.
Definitely, yeah. Especially websites that have like the trackers that run in the background. Like once you've downloaded the web page, they're still firing off home every few seconds, so where on the page are you, how long are you there for, and stuff like that, and to check your bounce rate and your retention time, etc.
So does Crystal work in the background? Does it run in the background at all, or is it? How does that work?
No, all it does is basically just give Safari a list, and then a list of rules, and then Safari just follows them rules. So Safari does the hefting in that respect. Apple's built that function to Safari.
Okay.
My app just gives it a list and updates the list and gives Safari a new list if there's an update.
I actually, here, I want to show this, see if I can bring this up. You had linked to, from one of your recent blog posts, you had linked to a list of websites that were going to be part of the whitelist. And hopefully I'm saying this right, so correct me if I'm wrong. I'm going to share my screen here. Let's see here. I'll go ahead and present that to everybody so everybody can see it. And
okay.
Yeah. So I don't know if you can see over on the right-hand side, but that small little tick mark that's over there, right, for the scroll. I mean, this list is huge, and I can imagine. I mean, I didn't even realize that there's that many advertising URLs, right? I mean, I know there's Google is a big part of it, which you can see there on the screen. Google's a big part of it, but I just didn't realize that there was this many things.
They not only advertise this, some features that work wrongly with ad blocker, so it just like fix the error of the work, and it's not that for some of them.
Okay. So
how it works? How it works is these are the list of exceptions that would go in if you enable to view acceptable advertisements. Basically, it's not ad networks that apply for it; it's websites specifically. Small and medium websites get whitelisted for free after being reviewed, and larger websites, such as Google or Amazon, have to pay a fee to be included, and that subsidizes the smaller ones and enables everyone to do all the checks and all the administration work. So these aren't ad networks specifically; these are mostly websites.
Okay. Gotcha. So that's part of the list. But do you know is the list of sites that are in the blocking? I mean, is this on par with the size? I mean, what? You know what I mean? Like how many networks are there that are out there being blocked? Or is it all part of the back-end system?
Yeah, it's all part of. I don't have a specific number in my head because it's a mix of. I've got about. I can't think off the top of my head. I think it's about 30,000 rules on there, maybe, because it removes a lot of the white space as well. So it does the CSS element hiding to remove the white space in websites. I believe that list there that you've got is a more. That's not the format Apple accepts it in, and there's a more efficient one that's AdBlock Plus have made. That's a lot smaller than the one that you've just shown. They'll be a lot more efficient to use.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, that's that whole thing is interesting. I did see on your site that you did a survey, and you said that 71% of people are not against ads in general. So does that mean they just don't like the current state of ads? Is that what we're saying?
Basically, yeah. 50% said they don't mind seeing ads that meet as acceptable criteria, or just over 50%, and 22% said they're happy to whitelist sites on their basis, so whitelist sites that they choose to see ads on to support their ads, so to support that site. So yeah, 1% of people in total don't actually mind seeing adverts in some sense, whether it's a site they support or just minimal advertising in general. One of the other questions in my survey was, why do you want to block mobile ads? And more than half, about 70%, said it was to, or 64% was either limit visual clutter or to speed up their browsing. So, and them two work hand in hand. If you remove the heavy resourceful ads that clutter up everything, the big images, the autoplay videos, that speeds up the browsing as a benefit because you're downloading a lot less large images or videos.
It seems like the whole thing is compounded by two things. One is, like you said, the quantity of ads. The fact that the content creator will take and put a bunch of ads on their site. It also seems like it's compounded with the fact that the ads aren't all that great, right? I mean, some of them are in your face, almost visually offensive, just to kind of grab your attention. And then it seems like the thing that's really pushing this right now, at this point, is that so many people have mobile devices, smart devices, right? Not just flip phones. So many people have smartphones, and not every site is optimized for the mobile experience. What do you think about that? Do you think that's a contributing factor to this conversation?
I'd say so, yeah. I'd say so. I mean, I get the impression that most sites are tested, in an office, on Wi-Fi, or maybe the mobile view within their browser, where there's a fast network. But a lot of them need to be tested as well in like a low network area, on 2G, 3G, just see how they load, see how quickly they load, and what improvements can be, because that's more typical of what an average user experiences when they're out and about.
Well, but we also see things like takeover ads, right? The pop-up screens, and then you can't click the X, or you know what I'm saying? Like it's a desktop experience on a mobile device, and it's terrible.
Yeah.
So it seems like we're in this mobile first, mobile responsive transitional thing where developers or content creators rather, are kind of like, well, I used to get all my traffic through desktop, and so I have all these desktop ads, but now they're getting more and more mobile traffic, and they really haven't made that switch or that conversion, and that seems to be pissing people off, for lack of a better term.
I've always pictured in my head, just thinking, just all these executives sitting around a table thinking, just saying, if we can make that X 3 pixels smaller, that would increase our click-through rate by like 6%. Stuff like that. That little X in the corner which cancels out that ad, it just keeps getting smaller and smaller the more I look at it. I think it gets bigger and bigger as I'm trying to press it.
Yeah. Right. Yeah. Do you think that this is that ad blockers are going to drive content creators out of business?
I doubt it. I'd imagine most content creators will have seen the trends over the past few years, especially if their business runs on advertising. Ad blockers are on the rise, and it's only a matter of time before they come to mobile. In fact, they've already been on mobile for a few years because some ad blockers run, or they can't run properly on iOS. They do like a VPN offering where you filter your traffic and they block the ads for you. That's been around for a couple of years now. So, I mean, this is new stuff. This is stuff that content creators should be aware of if they rely on advertising, and they should see the trends and try and adapt to it. Another interesting stat from my... Yeah.
Go ahead.
I was going to say, another interesting stat is 22% of the people I surveyed who didn't want to see ads were happy to pay money to support the sites they support or pay for extra content on the sites. So I know in terms of numbers, 22% isn't a lot, but then in terms of numbers, websites don't make a lot per person. I mean, if 22% of your traffic is willing to give you $5 a month, that's a lot of money, potentially. If you can give them like an ad-free experience in exchange.
Yeah, especially if they're committing to something like that every month, right? Where right now ads are kind of a hit or miss. You either get paid, like you said, per 1,000, right? So however many people show up to your site, and you divide that by 1,000, and then whatever advertisers are willing to pay, and then you can kind of do the math, or you get paid per click, and both of those things are completely random. Back in the .com bust days, Yahoo was one of those companies that was completely advertising supported, and when everything kind of went south and advertisers started pulling their dollars, it really made them scramble to try to figure out what they were going to do to survive. So yeah, if you could get something where you can have dedicated supporters on a regular monthly basis and know what your kind of air quotes know what your numbers are going to be, that would be a much better solution, I think, for everybody.